The first time we hear her, there are already too many dead men in this forest. We move in single file through the Ardennes trees, rifles up, boots sinking into wet snow that breaks the crust with a soft, tearing sound. Fog presses low between the trunks, thick as breath on glass. Somewhere far off, artillery mutters against the sky, a long, distant roll, like someone dragging furniture across a wooden floor. Then, cutting through the murk, thin and clear, comes a woman's voice. She is singing. It's not German, not English, either. Soft syllables and a rolling tongue, rising and falling like someone soothing a child. The notes float between the branches, sliding from left to right, always just ahead of us. The hairs on my arms push against the wool of my sleeves. There is no village out here, no farmhouse, no lights, just snow, trees, and barbed wire somewhere behind us. Sheikh Ernst Haller whispers ahead of me. His helmet rocks as he turns. You hear that, Carl? Or did I finally lose what's left of my brain? I want to say it's the wind. I open my mouth. The next phrase of the song curls down the line, closer, like she is standing just beyond the last tree. Head tilted, lips barely moving. Unter a Fizzier, Keller raises his hand, fist closed. We freeze. White breath hangs around us. The song does not stop. It slides on, smooth, without a breath, like someone has pressed a needle to a record that never ends. The hell is that? Lucas Meyer breathes behind me, close enough that I feel the warmth of it on my neck. It's a woman. It has to be a woman. No women in this forest tonight. No civilians left in this sector. That's what they told us at briefing. Ahead, Keller slowly lowers his arm. He glances back along the file, eyes scanning us under the rim of his helmet. American trick, he mutters, loud enough for us to hear. Loudspeaker. Don't break the line. We keep moving. We don't follow voices. The song changes. A different tune now, a lullaby cadence. Meyer stiffens. I know that, he whispers. My Oma used to sing. He stops. The melody twists at the end, wrong, bending into a note that pulls the skin on my skull tight. Somewhere in the fog, a branch cracks. Soft footsteps swish in the snow where no one is. We move on. After 20 meters, Ernst swears softly. Keller. What? Our tracks, Ernst says. Look. We look back the way we came. The fog folds and breathes. Our boot prints curve between the trees in a thin, dark line. Another set of prints cross them, smaller, narrower, heels sharp, toes pointed, bare feet, a woman's feet. The prints start between ours. They begin in the empty snow. The song drifts closer, and we understand we are not the ones following her. She is walking inside our column. We were told the Ardennes would be quiet, a rest sector. December 1944. Yes, but the main effort was supposed to be elsewhere. Then they pushed us west, deeper into the forest, into the fog and the ravines and the slush-filled foxholes. They told us we'd break through the Americans here, roll them back, take Antwerp. Now our whole world is white trunks, frozen breath, and the smell of pine sap and cordite that never leaves our clothes. I am Jeff Ryder Karl Weiss, 2. Company Fusilier Bataillon, 326, Volksgrenadier Division, 19 years old, rifleman. My role is simple. Keep moving where they tell me, keep my rifle clean, and pretend I am not afraid. In daylight, the forest is all gray and brown and white. Men hunched in dugouts roofed with logs, mess tins balanced on knees, the metallic stink of tinned meat, and ersatz coffee rising with the steam. Our breath hangs in the air and freezes on scarf edges. Somewhere, an MG-42 coughs down the line, ranging out into nothing, only to remind itself it's still alive. Ernst Haller sits on an ammunition crate outside our dugout, helmet pushed back, cigarettes rolled in a little metal case with his initials. He's 26, a butcher from Dortmund before the war, hands thick and red from years of cutting meat and lifting sides of pork. He taps the end of his cigarette against his boot, humming some Schläger tune under his breath, always the same rhythm. He can bone a pig faster than anyone. he told me once, and the company makes jokes about that whenever something or someone goes to pieces near him. Stop looking into the trees like a dog who's lost his master, he says now. He squints, shaping the paper around the tobacco. There's nothing out there except Americans and trees, and the Americans are too lazy to march in this weather. Meyer crouches inside the dugout, back pressed to the logs, a letter open on his knee. The paper is soft and creased from being folded and unfolded. He runs his thumb along the words without reading them, mouth moving silently on a name. Burble, his daughter. He showed us the picture once, a little girl in a wool dress, standing in front of a bare tree in some village near Kassel, hair in 2 braids, boots too big. If I live through this, he says without looking up, I'm going to build her a swing. That's all. Just a swing on a good tree. Not some rotten thing that breaks when you look at it. Keller stands near the trunk of a spruce, map case open, pencil between his teeth. 32 face hollow, eyes always scanning, as if he expects the forest to get up and walk away. He was a policeman in Cologne, he told us once when the schnapps went around. He doesn't talk about that anymore. He taps the map with his pencil now, tracing a thin line along a creek bed. Holler, he says. Tell your new friend to stop staring at the fog. He'll see shapes soon and shoot one of us. I'm not new, I mutter, but my eyes are on the tree line. The mist is thicker today, the trunks fading into gray columns. She's new. Ernst jerks his chin toward the nearest stand of fur. Your lady in white. The one the locals keep going on about. We didn't hear about her from the officers. We heard about her from an old woman in a ruined village 2 days' march behind the lines. She stood in a doorway with no roof, shawl wrapped tight, eyes like polished stones. Her house had no windows anymore, just black holes gaping out over the street. American shelling had come through here weeks before, leaving piles of bricks and a dead cow in what used to be the square. She watched us file past, men in field gray, helmets low, boots slapping through the slush. I tried not to look at her. Civilians were trouble, begging, pleading, spitting. But she raised one hand, thin fingers shaking slightly, and pointed to Ernst. You sing, she said in broken German. You carry songs. Ernst grinned, show off that he was. I carry everything, he said. Songs, sausages, bullets. Her smile didn't move. Don't sing for her, she said. Who? He asked, still in the mood to laugh. The woman who sings in the trees, the old woman said. La chanteuse, the singing one. She walks in fog. She sings what you want to hear. You follow. You don't come back. She said it like she was reminding us to cover a trench. Keller stepped up, his expression tightening. No more stories, Mutarchen, he said. Just tell us if any Americans came through here in the last days. She pointed past him, toward the forest line, where the mist already lay in the hollows like dirty wool. No Americans, she said. Only her. Last month, 3 boys from the village went into the trees when the fog came. They heard her. They went to her. We found 2 of them. The 3rd is still singing with her. We hear him at night. Someone behind me made a sign of the cross. Someone else spat. Keller's jaw moved. Superstition, he said, but his hand tightened on the strap of his MP40. The old woman watched us go, her eyes never leaving the line of trees. Now, in the dugout, the smell of that ruined house still seems to cling to Meyer's coat. Damp plaster, old smoke, and something sweet and rotten from the dead cow. He folds the letter again, careful, exact, corners meeting corners, and slides it into his tunic pocket. You can all laugh, he says quietly. I'm not singing if I hear anything. No one is singing, Keller says. We're soldiers, not boys around a campfire. Americans are out there. That's all. That night, we draw patrol duty. Orders come down in the mess tent, where steam from the soup pots mixes with cigarette smoke and the sharp smell of unwashed wool. Feldwebel, Brandt reads from a crumpled slip of paper, lips moving as he goes down the list. Patrol, he says. 2 squads, North Sector. Creek Line 2, Grid 8. Starting 2100 hours. He lifts his eyes. They settle on Keller. You're taking one group. WWII wants ears on any American movement. Rumors of patrols probing the line. They don't come close to the main positions. You got that? Eyes only. In and out. Keller nods. Brandt's gaze flicks to me, to Ernst, to Meyer, Weiss, Haller, Meyer, and you. He jerks his chin at another soldier at the table, a thin man with a scar along his cheek, knife-sharp. Schmidt. You're going with Keller. Schmidt doesn't look up from his stew. Ja Herfeld, Weeble, he says, chewing, then wipes his mouth with the back of his sleeve. He used to be a carpenter, apparently. Now he sharpens stakes and bayonets and his own knife for hours. The scrape a soft saw in the dugout. Brandt folds the paper, tucks it into his pocket. Watch the fog, he says. It thickens in the low ground. Don't lose the creek. Don't break radio contact. And don't believe everything you hear. No one says the word woman. At 2000, we're checking weapons under a tarpaulin, oil thick on our hands. I run a cloth along the bolt of my car 98K, fingers finding every ridge and groove by feel. The metal is cold enough to burn. Around us, the forest is a slow exhale, occasional creaks and shifts as snow sags on branches. Ernst breaks the silence first. If we hear anything, he says, we keep going the other way. Ja Keller. That depends, Keller says. He pulls the bolt back on his MP40. Checks the chamber, lets it slide forward with a controlled click. If it's English, we get closer. If it's French, we curse and go home. If it's some old cow from the village singing about the harvest, we shoot in the air and everyone laughs at us tomorrow. And if it sounds like my Oma, Meyer asks. Keller glances at him. The cigarette at the corner of his mouth burns low. Then you keep walking, he says. You don't look. You don't answer. You walk. The tarpaulin stirs as someone pushes through. Brandt's head appears, outlined in the dim light. 5 minutes, he says. Radio check at departure. Don't get creative out there. We step out into the cold. The sky is a low roof of cloud, hiding the moon. Snow glows faintly in the dark, a flat, dead light. Our breath is white. The fog is already forming in the hollows. A motionless lake between the trunks. We move off with soft clinks of metal, boots squeaking on the snow. Keller leads, compass in hand, radio operator close behind him with a set strapped to his back, antenna swaying like a thin, black reed. The forest closes around us, swallowing the lights of the position behind. We follow the creek, a black wound through the snow, half frozen, water whispering between the chunks of ice. Every few steps, someone slips and curses under their breath. An owl calls once, sharp and sudden. Then there is only the crunch of our boots. I count the steps between my breaths. 10 steps, inhale. 10 steps, exhale. The strap of my rifle cuts into my shoulder. Somewhere ahead, the radio murmurs as Brandt's voice crackles in our earphones. Checking in, coordinates exchanged in clipped phrases. Fog rises off the creek in slow curls, climbing up our legs, thickening. It smells faintly of riverweed and iron. Soon, we can see no more than 3 trunks ahead. Our world shrinks to a tunnel of white and black. Keller, the radio operator, mutters. Signal getting patchy. Then stay closer, Keller says. If you lose them, shout. We push deeper. The first time we heard her, we were already on the way back. The patrol outward bound, is only cold and silence, and a fox startled from its den. A flash of red against the snow that vanishes between the roots. We reach the grid square. Listen, kneel, peer through the fog for any shapes that might be men, rifles, helmets, nothing, no voices, no movement, just the forest hissing lightly as snow slides from branches. Keller checks his watch, then the compass. 10 more minutes, he says. Then we turn back. We wait, crouched among the roots, watching the white. Someone's teeth chatter softly. Someone else shifts and winces as ice cracks under their boot. The radio crackles once, then dies into a low, uneven buzz. Grant, this is Patrol Keller. The operator whispers into the handset. Do you copy? Over. Static. Too much interference, he mutters. Dampen the set. Or the terrain. Keller grunts. We keep to the plan. 10 more minutes. Those minutes stretch. When he finally taps 2 fingers to his helmet and motions, the relief is a physical thing, loosening something in my chest. We rise, boots sinking again through the thin crust of snow, and pivot as one, aligning behind him for the way back. That's when we hear it. Soft at first, threading through the creek's whisper and the creak of branches. A line of melody, barely there, like someone humming behind a wall. It slips between us. I feel it along my teeth more than hear it. Ernst stiffens in front of me. Meyer makes a small sound, a half-swallowed no. The song grows. Words roll over the notes now, clear and careful, like a lullaby from a mouth that has had a long time to practice. I don't understand them, not the language, but the shape of the phrases is the same as something from my own childhood. My mother's voice, low in the little kitchen in Essen, before the sirens, before the blackouts. The back of my throat goes tight. No, Meyer whispers, again behind me. No, no, no. It's a gramophone, Schmidt says, too loud. Americans, some trick, to draw us in the middle of the forest. Ernst says under his breath, with what for power? A miracle generator. Shut up. Keller's voice is flat. He turns his head just enough that we can see his eyes under the rim of the helmet. They look too wide, too bright. We stay on the creek. Don't break the line. The song shifts, climbing higher. The voice is closer now, just ahead, just beyond the next veil of fog. A woman's voice. It is beautiful in the way a knife can be beautiful. She sings something that sounds like my name. Carl. It isn't German, but my name is buried in there now, soft as a hand on my arm. I feel the pull in my legs. The urge to step sideways, toward the sound, is a physical ache. Beside me, Meyer sways. It's Burble, he says, voice breaking. She's grown. She's singing. His boots shift toward the fog to our left. I grab his sleeve. Meyer, no. He twists, face pale, eyes wide. You don't hear her, he demands. She's calling me. She's calling Papa. She's Grenadier Meyer. Keller's voice is a whip crack. Stay in line. Meyer shudders, eyes tearing up. He nods. His sleeve trembles under my fingers. Step by step, we move forward again, following the black thread of the creek. The song moves with us. Not in front now, not behind. It's weaving between the trees at our right, then at our left, as if she is pacing us, just one line of trunks away, walking parallel, never quite letting us see her. The fog thickens again, rising to our waists, our chests, snow and air and song. My breath sounds too loud in my own ears. Branches appear out of nowhere, black claws raking at my sleeves. My hand aches around the rifle. We cross our own tracks. Ernst stops so suddenly I stumble into his back. Keller, he says, voice small. We were here already. In the snow ahead, and to the side, dark streaks where our boots broke the crust. Our own footprints, toes pointing the way we are facing. The creek twists here, yes, but we have not turned. We have kept it on our right. And yet, the pattern of holes in the snow is unmistakable. Impossible, Schmidt mutters. He sinks to one knee, gloved hand hovering over the prints, as if they might burn. We didn't loop. I know how to walk in a forest. Keller's jaw clenches. He stares down at the tracks. The song curls around us, higher, sweeter, never stopping for breath. It sounds like someone smiling with their mouth closed. Maybe the creek bends more than on the map, Keller says. Fog plays tricks. He does not sound convinced. His eyes dart from tree to tree. Ernst points. Look, between our prints, between the long heavy steps of boots and the scuffs of heels, another line runs. Bare, slender feet, heel and toe, heel and toe. The snow at the edges of each print is crystallized, a thin, glittering crust. No stride marks, no approach. The first of those prints begins in the untouched snow between two of ours, in a space where no one walked. They are walking along with us. Inside our path shake, the radio operator murmurs. He lifts the handset to his ear. Brant, this is Patrol Keller. We are experiencing static. Then, through the static, faint and far and wrong, the same song. The operator jerks the handset away, as if it bit him. His eyes are huge. It's on the line, he whispers. She's in the line. Enough, Keller snaps, but his voice is hoarse. He looks back down at the bare prints, then up into the fog. We're turning east, away from the creek. We cut through this stand, then back south to the perimeter. I don't care if we walk an extra kilometer. That's away from the line, Schmidt says. Orders don't mention enchanted cowherd girls singing us into a ravine, Keller says. The attempt at humor dies in his throat. We're going. Now. We pivot. Snow squeaks underfoot. My boots feel suddenly too light, as if I'm stepping on a thin crust above a fall, not solid ground. The song slides to meet us. As we move east, the voice shifts ahead again. Always ahead. Always just beyond the next veil of white. Once, I think I see a shadow between two trunks. A vertical smear of gray in the fog, the suggestion of a shoulder, a head turned away, hair dark against pale skin. Then a branch moves and it's gone. Did you see that? I whisper. No, Ernst says. Then after a second, yes. The ground begins to slope downward. My toes jam into the front of my boots. Snow thins, replaced by patches of slick mud where the meltwater has pooled. The fog hides everything beyond 5 or 6 steps. The song is softer now, but still there, like someone singing on the other side of a door. We reach a small hollow. The air is colder here, a damp chill that wraps around our ankles and crawls up our legs. Something smells off beneath the usual scents of pine and earth, sweet and sour, like fruit left too long in a drawer. Then I see the first body. He lies against a tree, half sitting, legs splayed, back pressed to the bark. Snow has drifted against his boots. His uniform is American. Jacket open, shirt dark with old blood. His helmet sits in the snow beside him, half filled with brown water. His head is tilted back, mouth open. Inside his mouth, something glistens. Frost. No. That smell again. Stronger now. Meyer makes a small choking sound. Ernst swears. Schmidt swallows hard, his throat moving. Leave him, Keller says. We can't do anything here. There will be more. There are. Another American 20 meters on, lying face down, hands clawed into the snow. Another slumped in the crook of a root, eyes open, lashes white with ice. Their faces are gray. Their fingers have that swollen look of meat left in water. They are all turned toward the same direction. Their heads, their bodies, their boots, all aligned, as if they were walking in a line that ended here. The song is louder. It comes from ahead, from a deeper hollow where the fog is thickest, like cotton piled in a bowl. The ground dips more sharply. Trees crowd closer, branches knitted overhead. Pull back, Schmidt hisses. We should mark this and go. Recon was all they asked. This is beyond. Keller's face is tight. He breathes once, twice. Snow melts on his eyelashes. We're already off course, he says. If we try to go back now blind, we'll circle again. We keep going, find higher ground, then the song stops. Silence floods in behind it, thick and immediate. It's like someone has snuffed a candle. Our breaths are suddenly loud, ragged. Somewhere far off, artillery thumps, but even that seems muted by the fog. Snowflakes fall in slow motion, big and separate. Do you hear? Meyer begins. A new voice starts, high, wavering. A man's voice now, singing the same melody, but off-key, like someone drunk or injured. The words slur, but the tune is exact. It comes from the hollow ahead. That's German, Ernst whispers. That's one of us. Help, the voice calls between phrases. sliding into the song. Higher. Help me. Bit. I feel my boots move before I decide to move them. Keller, Schmidt says, grabbing his sleeve. This is stupid. This is how they get you. Americans with a loudspeaker. Or worse. Americans don't sing like that, Myers says. His eyes shine. That's Schuster. From 3. Grupp Schuster's in the rear with frostbite. Ernst snaps. You saw him in the medic tent. Remember? He cried when they cut his boot off. The voice wavers again. Bit. I'm hurt. Don't leave me. It sounds like Schuster. It even has the same whine he gets when the rations run low. Keller swears under his breath. 2 men with me, he says. Weiss, Holler. The rest stay here. If we don't come back in 5 minutes, you go back to the creek and follow it downstream. No heroics, understood. Myers' face falls. You can stay in cover, Keller says. That's an order. We step down into the hollow. The fog rolls around our knees and then our hips. It tastes faintly metallic on my tongue, like licking a coin. Trees crowd close, trunks slick with black moisture. My boots sink into soft, cold ground that gives more than it should. The singing stops again. Schuster, Keller calls. His voice sounds wrong here, flattened, like it's coming from underwater. Where are you? No answer. The fog presses closer. Ernst is just to my right, the barrel of his rifle wavering slightly. I can see little beads of moisture forming on the metal, fattening, sliding down. He swallows audibly. Something's wrong with the sound, he mutters. It's bouncing. Shut up and listen, Keller says. We listen. At first, there is only our breathing, the faint creak of leather, the soft crackle of frost dropping from branches. Then, very faintly, we hear it again. Not ahead, not behind, under our feet. A muffled line of melody, coming up through the ground, like someone singing into the belly of the earth. Every note vibrates through the soles of my boots. My heart hammers against my ribs. There, Ernst says hoarsely. He points. At the base of one large beech tree, the snow does not sit right. It's disturbed, hollowed in a long, shallow depression, like someone dug and then tried to cover it quickly. The fog seems thicker there, clinging low, curling in on itself. The song rises from that spot. Grave, Keller says. His voice is low. Mass grave. The Americans. They, maybe the villagers. The explanation withers in the air between us. We stand there, listening to the voice singing under the snow. Help. It sobs suddenly, between notes. It's cold. It's dark. Can you hear me? Keller shouts. Bang once if you can hear me. There is a pause. Then something thumps against the underside of the earth. Once, twice, 3 times. The snow jumps slightly, with each hit, a fine spray of powder, puffing up and settling again. The song breaks into a long, high wail that drills into my ears. Get a shovel, Ernst gasps. We can't just. A hand breaks through. Pale fingers claw out of the snow, skin bluish-white, nails torn and dark with blood. They scrabble at the air, grasping at nothing. The arm is thin, sleeve of an American jacket pushed back, dog-tag chain glinting as it jerks. I stumble back, hot bile rising in my throat. The hand opens and closes, opens and closes. The singing chokes on a sob. Help me, the voice screams. Keller grabs Ernst's arm. We can't, he says through clenched teeth. We don't have tools. We don't know how many. The fingers twist toward us, knuckles cracking audibly, as if something is bending them from inside. The voice changes. It drops in pitch, smoothing out, turning the last word into a drawn-out note that is not human. The dog tags on the wrist rattle as the hand begins to move differently, no longer digging, but feeling, searching. The fingers bend backwards, one by one, with little, wet popping sounds, until the palm faces upward, fingers pointing toward the roots of the tree. The song resumes, pouring out of the ground, out of that moving hand, out of the fog. A woman's voice again, clear and sweet and certain, as if she had only borrowed the man for a moment. Ernst makes a strangled noise. Keller back. Keller snaps. His face is gray. He starts to step away, boots slipping on the wet earth. Something catches my ankle. I hit the ground hard, air punched out of my lungs. My rifle flies from my hand, skidding across the snow. The cold slaps through my coat. For a second, everything is a smear of white and black in pain. I look down. Fingers like the ones that broke the surface there are wrapped around my boot. Not from the ground, from the fog. A hand formed of mist and snow and darkness grips my ankle, nails made of ice pressing into the leather. The song swells. Carl, it croons, using my name this time, clearly. Stay. Don't go. It's so warm under the snow, so quiet. No more orders, no more marching. The grip tightens. Cold shoots up my leg, into my calf, my thigh. My muscles seize. Ernst lunges toward me, face contorted. He slams the butt of his rifle down where the wrist should be. The stock passes through fog, hits my boot instead. Pain explodes in my toes. Fuck. I wheeze. The hand laughs, not in sound, in the way that chill flickers under my skin. Keller fires. 3 rounds stitch the air between us and the tree. Muzzle flashes pulse in the fog. The song stutters. The hand's grip loosens. Move. Keller roars. I wrench my leg upward. The fingers drag along the leather, leaving frostburn trails, then tear free. I scramble, boots slipping, fingers clawing at the snow. Ernst grabs my collar and hauls. My ribs scream. We stumble backward, away from the beech tree, away from the half-open grave. The hand sinks back into the fog. The snow settles. The song drops to a low, amused hum. We run. Branches whip our faces. The fog is a solid wall we push through, gasping. Behind us, the melody follows, faint but constant, like a tune stuck in the back of the throat of the whole forest. We crash back into the line, where the others waited. Meyer's eyes go to my leg, to the pale frost marks around my boot. What happened? He demands. We're leaving, Keller says. His voice shakes once, and then hardens. Now. Southeast. We get out of here, and on to higher ground radio. Or no radio. No more detours. The radio operator glances at his set. I got something while you were gone, he says. Just for a second. Brandt's voice. And then, Ernst snarls. His hands shake as he checks his rifle, movements jerky. And then the same song, the operator says, coming through all 3 frequencies. No one speaks for a moment. We move. The fog seems to resist us now, pushing back. The bare footprints in our tracks continue ahead of us, as if she already knows where we're going. Sometimes they walk beside our prints, sometimes they cross them. Once, we come to a point where the bear tracks stop dead in front of a tree. On the other side of the tree, they begin again, as if she stepped through the trunk without breaking stride. Meyer mutters prayers under his breath. Not all of them are the standard ones. Some sound like things his grandmother might have whispered while stirring soup. He clutches at his tunic where the letter lies. The forest thickens. Trunks stand closer together, roots swelling under the snow like sleeping animals. The ground rises sharply. Our breath comes harder. My leg throbs where the cold bit into it. I can't tell if it's really warmer now, or if my nerves are just numb. At some point, without us noticing exactly when, the song changes again. She sings in German now. She knows the words to a marching song we learned in training. Same tune, same rhythm, but the lyrics shift slightly, bending into something about stepping into sleep, about boots filling with snow, about hands that never stop reaching. Ernst, always the clown, flinches when her version reaches the part where we used to shout and stomp in time. She listens, he whispers. She listened to us. She listens to everyone who comes through here, Keller says grimly. That's why there are so many bodies in that hollow. We crest a ridge, boots slipping on loose stones under the snow. On the other side, the fog thins slightly. The trees spread out, giving us glimpses of pale sky between branches. Far off, A faint orange glow suggests the line. Campfires banked low. We're almost out. The radio operator breathes. That's when we lose Schmidt. It happens between one breath and the next. He is behind Meyer, muttering something about the grain of wood in the trees. About how you could tell their age from the pattern if you could just see properly. I hear his voice, then I don't. The crunch of his boots in the snow stops. The line closes up automatically as we move. After 10 steps, Keller stops, frowning. Schmidt, he calls. No answer. We look back. Schmidt's footprints are there in the snow, clear as any of ours. They stop halfway between 2 trees. There is no sign of him beyond that point. No scuffle. No drag marks. Just 3 last steps that end in clean holes, as if he simply lifted his feet and chose not to put them back down. Meyer's breathing speeds up. Maybe he stepped aside to piss, he says. Schmidt. Hey, idiot. Now is not. His voice echoes strangely between the trunks. No answer. Did anyone see him leave the line? Keller demands. Anyone? We shake our heads. The song sighs through the fog, suddenly softer, slow as a lullaby again. I think I hear a low chuckle under it. Keller's hands clench on his weapon. We can't search, he says. You know that. We can't go back in circles again. We mark this. Next patrol out with daylight and more men. She took him, Meyer says. His voice is not loud. That makes it worse. I realize I am gripping my rifle so hard, my fingertips are numb inside the gloves. We move again, faster now, almost stumbling down the slope toward the faint glow of our lines. The song follows, but it does not try to get in front anymore. It trails us, as if she is seeing us off, as if she knows we will be back. When we break out of the tree line, the sight of the low earthen mounds and the dark slits of our bunkers is like seeing a harbor after a long time at sea. Men on the perimeter swing their rifles around, then relax as they see our silhouettes. We hurry through the wire, boots clinking on the metal stakes, breath burning in our lungs. The fog thins as it meets the warmth of the fires and the churned-up ground of the positions. Behind us, the forest wall stands black against the sky. No song reaches us here. Not yet. Brandt meets us near the main trench, coat collar up, cap pulled low. His breath steams as he counts heads. His brow furrows, then his face goes hard. Where's Schmidt? He asks. Keller's jaw works. Missing, he says. We lost him in the fog, about 1 kilometer north-northwest. No contact since. No sound. Brandt's eyes flick past him, to the pale frost marks still visible on my boot, to Meyer's shaking hands, to Ernst's wide, fixed stare. He doesn't ask the obvious question. Why we didn't go back. Get inside, he says. Report in 5 minutes. Then you warm up and sleep while you can. Ryman will decide about a search party. We move like sleepwalkers back to the dugout. Inside, the air is thick with smoke and damp wool. Someone's stew still clings to the edges of a pot over the little stove, burned at the bottom. I sit heavily on my bunk, fingers fumbling at the laces of my boot. When I pull it off, the skin around my ankle is white and numb, gooseflesh standing all the way to my knee. Ernst sits opposite me, elbows on his knees, stare distant. He pulls out his cigarette case, opens it, then closes it again without taking one. Don't sing, he mutters, more to himself than to us. Don't sing, don't answer, don't. Meyer takes the letter from his pocket, looks at it, then carefully, slowly, without reading, he folds it back and puts it away. His lips move on his daughter's name, but no sound comes out. The radio in the corner crackles. We all look. It's on, but no one has touched it. The dial glows faint orange. We hear static, then a burst of low voices, indistinct, perhaps some other unit's chatter bleeding through. Then, clear as if she were standing in the doorway, the woman begins to sing. Ernst lurches to his feet, knocking over a mug. Turn it off, he snarls. No one moves. The melody curls around the timbers of the dugout, smooth and slow. It's the same tune as in the forest, But now I can hear words in German, phrases about rest, about laying down burdens, about the softness of the snow. Between those verses, in the background, something else moves. A faint sound like men calling from far away, like boots crunching on ice. Meyer clamps his hands over his ears. Keller strides to the radio, fingers hovering. "Don't touch it," I say. They all look at me, surprised. "We turned back when she sang through the earth," I say. My voice sounds thin. "We turned back when she spoke on the patrol frequency. Maybe." I swallow. My throat hurts. "Maybe if we turn it off, she comes in another way. Or maybe we just don't have to hear her," Ernst snaps. But he doesn't move closer to the set. The song continues for another few seconds. Then the radio crackles again. The melody stops mid-phrase, as if a hand has lifted the needle. Brandt's voice comes through instead, barking at someone about ammunition accounting. The dugout snaps back into ordinary sounds, men shifting, a stove ticking. "See," Keller says hoarsely, "it's just interference, weather, terrain." No one believes him, not fully, not anymore. We make the report. In Ryman's little command dugout, cramped and smelling of wet paper and sweat. We stand in front of the map table, caps in hands. The lieutenant listens as Keller describes the patrol's route. The American bodies, the grave, the hand, the song, the disappearance of Schmidt. Ryman's face is young too, soft around the jaw despite the lines of fatigue etched between his brows. He smokes as he listens, fingers tapping ash into an overflowing tray. The map on the table is already smudged with pencil lines and beer rings. "A singing woman," he says when Keller finishes. His tone is flat. "Fog. Americans buried in some hole with the ground still settling. A missing man, and strange noises on the radio." "Yes, Herr Lieutenant," Keller says. Ryman's eyes move to me. "Weiss, you're the youngest. Did you see anything solid? Any actual person? Any enemy sign?" I think of the shadow between the trees, the curve of a shoulder, the hair against pale skin. I think of fingers made of fog on my boot. "I saw a hand," I say, "and shapes in the mist. But nothing I could put a bullet in and be sure." Ryman rubs his temples. "Fine. Here's what goes in the report." He picks up his pencil, the wood scraped bare by nervous teeth. "Patrol encountered evidence of American casualties, likely slain in recent skirmish. Terrain hazardous due to fog and snow. One man lost contact with unit and is presumed missing in action. No confirmed enemy contact. Possible enemy use of sound recordings or psychological warfare tactics." He looks up, eyes hard. "That is what goes to battalion. Do you understand?" "Yes, Herr Lieutenant," we say. And, unofficially, he adds, voice lower, "Do not go near that hollow again, unless you are ordered directly. If someone is singing to you in German in the middle of the Ardennes, you do not answer. You do not follow. You get back behind barbed wire and wooden planks, and you pray the artillery barrage starts before your own brain finishes eating itself." He taps ash onto the corner of the map where the hollow would be. "You are not the first to report oddities. You will not be the last. The forest has habits. They have nothing to do with the Führer, the Americans, or any of our goals here. They are older than all of us, so you treat them like minefields you didn't lay yourself. Clear?" We nod. My mouth is dry. As we step out, we hear him mutter something under his breath in Latin, a scrap of prayer. The man who made his speech about psychological warfare just asked a dead saint for help. Life in the line doesn't stop. Shells come in the next day, falling in the trees with a sound like someone ripping paper the size of houses. Splinters scythe through the branches. Men run, duck, curse. Snow geysers into the air in white fountains. An American patrol probes in daylight, rifles popping from somewhere in the fog. Our MG rattles back. A man to bunkers down takes a piece of wood in the throat and dies, gurgling, clutching at the air. His mess tin sits untouched on his crate. Meyer pulls double guard shifts, eyes always drifting toward the tree line. He stops talking about the swing he'll build. He starts checking the letter in his pocket less, as if touching it too often might draw notice. Ernst jokes more loudly, laughs at things that aren't funny. He starts humming under his breath again, but always cuts himself off midway through a bar, mouth snapping shut as if he burned his tongue. At night, when the fog curls against the wire again and the trees are only darker smears against the gray, we hear it, faint at first. A line of melody threading down from somewhere up the valley. Men on sentry shift straighten, heads tilted. She is singing again. Sometimes, if the wind is right, the song skims over us and fades. Sometimes, it curls around the perimeter like a cat, circling, pressing against weak spots. Once, during a lull between shellings, we hear her clear as church bells, voice rolling between the trunks. Far off, someone screams, then silence. Schmidt's bunk stays empty. No one uses his mug. No one touches the knife he left stuck point down in the bunk frame, blade half into the wood. The first morning after he vanished, his name is on the casualty list, in Brandt's hand, with vermist next to it. 2 nights later, Myers swears he sees Schmidt's handwriting on the inside of the dugout door. A little note about cleaning rifles that no one remembers being there before. The forest swallows more men. Sometimes, they disappear under bombardment, bodies simply not found. Sometimes, they go out on night patrols like ours and don't come back, their paths lost in the shifting fog. Officially, they are victims of enemy fire, of mines, of disorientation, of panic. Unofficially, the story spreads. They call her different things. Die Sentrin, La Femme Quachant, Die Frau Imnabel. Some say she is a ghost from the last war, a nurse who died in a shell hole, still calling to the men she couldn't save. Others say she is older, a forest thing, some Ardennes spirit that lures invaders into bogs and sinkholes, offended at the noise of engines and artillery. The villagers cross themselves when her name is mentioned. One old man spits 3 times over his shoulder and tells us, in broken German, that she used to sing for hunters who poached in a certain ravine. They never came back. There is a shrine somewhere, he says. A little niche in a rock with a statue of the Virgin that sometimes closes its eyes when you walk past. Men used to leave flowers there. Now there is only snow. We aren't supposed to go looking for shrines. We end up there anyway. It's not a patrol this time. It's a carrying party. 2 days after Schmidt disappears, we are ordered to fetch mortar rounds from a drop point, half a kilometer up a side path. The supply sleds can't get closer because of the shell holes. Brandt picks 6 men. Keller, me, Ernst, Meyer, 2 others from 1. Grupp. Follow the marker stakes, he says. No creative shortcuts through the woods. Fog should stay light. Radio with you in case the Americans get ambitious. We set off with empty sleds rattling behind us, ropes over our shoulders biting into the wool. The snow is thicker now, the crust firm underfoot. Our boots crunch loud. The sky is a slab of lead. The stakes are simple pieces of wood with ragged strips of cloth tied at the top, planted at intervals along the path. They lean at odd angles, caps of snow on their heads. We follow them like pilgrims, sled runners hissing on the packed ground. For a while, everything is normal. We hear distant artillery, ours and theirs, the sound muted by trees. A crow hops along a branch, black against the white. Someone slips, someone swears. Ernst tells a brief, stupid joke about Brandt's wife and a pig, and for a second, we actually laugh. Then the stakes lead us into a narrow defile, where the trees grow close on either side, branches knitting overhead. The light dims, fog pools in the hollows. The air smells damp and stagnant, like a cellar. Did we come this way last time? One of the other men murmurs. We followed the stakes, Keller says. Same as now. His words don't convince even him. 30 meters in, the noise of the front dies. The artillery fades. The crows stop calling. All that's left is the scrape of the sled runners and our own breathing. The next stake leans against a rock face. The rock rises suddenly out of the snow, taller than a man, rough and gray, streaked with black like old smoke damage. Someone has hacked a shallow niche into it about chest height. Inside that recess stands a little statue, half buried in snow. The Virgin Mary, chipped and cracked, paint flaking. Her eyes are downcast, hands open. Someone has wrapped a string of wooden beads around her neck. They are black with damp. Under her feet, the snow is not right. It dips, slightly, as if something under it has settled. A shallow depression, like a footprint that has drifted full. The fog curls more thickly around it, coiling like breath on cold stone. There, Meyer whispers. The shrine. No one told us exactly what it would look like. We still know. She sings, not loud, not like before. Just a few notes, hummed at the edge of hearing, like someone trying out a tune while they work. The sound seems to come from inside the rock, inside the statue's cracked plastered chest. It vibrates in my teeth. My stomach turns. Keller's hand tightens on the rope of the sled. We keep going, he says. His voice is rough. We're not here for saints or stories. Left at the rock, then up. That's what Brandt said. Ernst's gaze is locked on the snow at the base of the statue. Her eyes moved, he says quietly. They did not, Keller snaps. They did, Ernst insists. They were looking down. Now they're not. I don't want to look. I look. The statue's painted eyes are flaked and faded, pupils barely more than shadows under grime. They seem to gaze straight ahead now, not at the ground. A faint line of moisture runs from one corner of the right eye, down the cheek, freezing halfway. She doesn't like us here, one of the men mutters. I don't like us here, Meyer says. We pull the sleds past the rock. The song grows a little louder, a melody that could be a hymn, if the intervals weren't slightly off. If the last note of each phrase didn't hang too long, like someone listening for an answer. The fog thickens behind us, relative clarity slipping away with each step. On the way back, under the weight of the mortar rounds, the sled ropes cutting deeper into our shoulders, we pass the rock again. Meyer stumbles. The rope jerks me sideways. I turn, cursing ready, but the words die. Meyer is on his knees, in front of the statue, hands clasped, lips moving. His eyes are glassy. Snow melts on his lashes, where his breath hits them. Meyer, Keller barks, get up. We're not praying now. Meyer doesn't move. The song slides between us, wrapping around Meyer like a shawl. The statue's cracked mouth seems to widen slightly, plastered lips softening. I hear a whisper in German threading through the melody, curling around Meyer's name. Come rest, it says. You've walked enough. Your little one will be here. She's tired too. My hand goes numb on the rope. Ernst drops his own rope and lunges forward. He grabs Meyer's shoulder, shaking hard. Lucas, get up, he snarls. Your daughter is home, remember? She needs you there, not buried like American meat in this hole. Meyer turns his head slowly. His eyes are wrong. They look like someone took a handful of snow and pressed it into his skull behind the sockets. The brown is still there, but dulled, glazed over. His lips move on the word Papa, but no sound comes out. The song rises, eager now. Without thinking, I step in. My gloved hand cracks against his cheek. The sound is sharp in the stillness. A little spray of ice flies from the stubble along his jaw. He blinks. For a second, the glaze lifts. His gaze focuses on my face, then on Ernst's. His breathing shudders. What? He looks at his own hands, clasped before the statue. What am I doing? Losing your mind? Ernst says, voice rough. Get up. We drag him to his feet. He sways, then grips the rope again like a lifeline. He does not look back at the statue. As we haul the sleds away, the song trembles on a discordant note, like someone who missed a step in a dance. It lowers, sullen. The beads around the Virgin's neck twitch once, settling into a new pattern of light and shadow. That night, Meyer doesn't sleep. He sits on his bunk, boots on, coat still buttoned, eyes on the dugout roof. The letter in his pocket might as well be a stone. When he does speak, in the gray hours before dawn, his voice is thin. She sang Burble's name, he whispers. Not just mine, hers. No one answers. Ernst pretends to snore. I stare at the underside of the bunk above me and count each ragged breath. The forest waits. The Americans hit our sector hard the next week. Shells walk through the trees, upright trunks shattering into splinters that scythe through the air. The frozen ground bucks under our boots. Men vanish in geysers of snow and earth. The line bends, creaks, but does not break, at least not here, not yet. Rumors flow faster than the river under its ice. They say an entire patrol from another company went into the fog 2 nights ago and never came back. They say their voices can be heard now in the song, a baritone harmony threading under the woman's melody. Someone swears they recognized a cousin's laugh in the chorus. Keller's jaw tightens more each day. He sleeps less. His eyes are ringed in red. He keeps his map case close, as if sheer willpower can keep our paths straight when the forest wants to bend them. Then, one night, Brandt comes into the dugout with that look that means another bad idea has come down from above. Ryman needs a listening post forward, he says. Americans have been shifting artillery. We need to know if they're preparing another push. Small group, quiet, 2 hours, no more. You'll be in and out. He looks at us. He doesn't need to say who. Keller doesn't argue. We go. This time, it's just 4 of us. Keller, me, Ernst, Meyer. We move out under a sky hazed by reflected fire. The fog is thinner at first, shredded by the wind, eddies curling around the trees. Snow crunches under our boots. Somewhere, a machine gun stutters, then falls silent. We follow a bearing that keeps us close to a low ridge, the land dropping away on one side. No stakes, no marked path, just Keller's compass and the feel of the slope under our boots. The plan is simple. Reach a chosen stand of trees, settle in, listen for an hour, then pull back. Simple, except for the fact that the forest remembers us now. We reach the stand without trouble. It's a small cluster of firs, with thick trunks and low branches, dense enough to hide 4 men in white smocks and helmets. We settle down, backs to the bark, rifles across our knees. The night is not silent. We hear distant clanks of armor, the rumble of engines filtered through snow and distance. Voices carry sometimes, English words we don't parse, just the rhythm of speech. A cough, a laugh, once, the clatter of a dropped tool and a muttered curse. We pass this along in low whispers to the little field telephone wired up to battalion. Keller speaks coordinates in a calm voice, as if he isn't sitting on a live charge of terror. An hour passes. No singing. I almost start to believe we might get away with this. Time, Ernst murmurs finally, glancing at his watch. We should go. Another 10 minutes, Keller says. They might move something big. Meyer's jaw tightens. Another 10 minutes closer to her. We're not near the hollow, Keller says. We're 2 kilometers east. Different sector, different trees. She can have the others. The wind shifts. Fog slides in low from the valley, fingering around our boots, around the tree trunks. The air grows colder by a degree. My breath plumes. The first note is almost invisible. I feel it in the fillings of my teeth, a faint vibration. Then it stretches, lengthens, turns into a tone. She starts to sing again. This time, it is not out in the forest, not at some vague distance. The sound is close. Very close. It seems to come from between the trunks of our own little stand, as if she is leaning against the same bark we are, shoulder touching shoulder, invisible. Ernst goes rigid. Meyer grips his rifle so hard his knuckles whiten, even through the gloves. No, he whispers. No, no. Carl, she croons. Ernst, Lucas, Bruno. Such good names. You've carried them far. You must be tired. Hearing my own name from an unseen mouth steals the air from my lungs. Hearing all of ours, in order, like a roll call, makes my skin crawl. Keller's face goes gray. He reaches for the telephone, voice level by force. Central, this is listening post 1. We have unusual auditory phenomenon, possibly loudspeaker, from enemy positions. Advise. Over. static. Then, through the crackle, a woman laughs softly. The same laugh as the one sliding between the trees. The hair on the back of my neck rises. She's on the line, Ernst says. She's shut up, Keller hisses. The telephone hisses as if something moist is breathing on the other end. Then the line goes dead. The little lamp beside the handset flickers and fades. We are alone. No one sings here, Meyer says suddenly, loudly. His voice shakes. Do you hear? No one sings? Silence for a second. Then she starts to hum a tune I've heard in the dugout 100 times. A stupid, catchy song Ernst always hums when he sharpens his bayonet. The one about some girl in a red dress in a town none of us have seen. She hums it exactly as he does, including the little twist he adds in the third bar. Then she changes the last line. Ernst. She sings softly. She's wearing white now, not red. She's waiting under the snow. His jaw works. He doesn't move. Keller's hand inches toward his MP40. We pull back, he whispers. Slowly. No sudden moves. No one answers. We go. We rise. One at a time, as if standing too fast will tip something over. Snow slides from our smocks. The song follows. Smooth, almost conversational now. Going so soon, she says. You just got comfortable. You just stopped hearing the shells. Stay. Stay with the others. Which others? Ernst bursts out, despite himself. The moment the words leave his mouth, his eyes widen. The melody laughs, delighted. Those who walked to me, she croons. Those who answered when I sang their names. Those who froze, standing up because they wouldn't kneel. They make such beautiful sounds when they finally decide to rest. The fog thickens around our legs. It swirls up in little eddies, wrapping around our knees like ghost hands. We step out of the stand. The forest is different. The trees are not the same as the ones we passed on the way in. The slope feels wrong under my boots. The faint orange glow of the line is in the wrong direction. We didn't turn, Meyer says, voice high. We didn't, she turns, Ernst says. She turns the forest. We walk faster. Branches whip our faces. The song winds through the trunks, never louder, never softer, like she is walking at exactly our pace, no matter how we speed up. Sometimes it seems to come from ahead, sometimes from behind. Once, it seems to come from over our heads, as if she is pacing along the tops of the trees. My heart beats so hard, my chest hurts. We come to a clearing. I know before we step into it where we are. The hollow. The beech tree rises from the center, bare branches spread against a low, heavy sky. Snow lays thick around it, except where old, dark patches show where it soaked something other than water. The ground dips subtly, like someone breathed out and never in again. Bare footprints circle the tree. Dozens of them, hundreds. Some are fresh, edges sharp. Some are half filled with drifted snow. They vary in size, but most are the size of a woman's foot. Some are smaller, like a child's. They overlap and weave, forming a ring around the trunk. In the snow at the base of the tree, 4 sets of boot prints approach and stop. Ours. We didn't walk here, I whisper. My voice sounds small, fragile. Our prints lead into the clearing. They do not lead out. The song rises, triumphant now. You came back, she says. Good boys. I knew you would. My legs feel heavy, as if something has filled the veins with mud. The idea of lifting my foot is suddenly complicated, too complex to manage. My hands tingle. Keller raises his weapon. We're not staying, he says through his teeth. Whoever you are, whatever you are, we're not staying, she says. But you're already here. The snow at the base of the tree moves. Hands push up. Not one this time. Many. Pale fingers, gray fingers, naked fingers, gloved fingers with the fabric worn through at the tips. They claw at the air, at the bark, at each other. Some have nails, some do not. Some are missing pieces. Voices rise with them, not in words, but in a long, ragged moan that somehow still follows the shape of the song. like a choir made of throats full of snow. Meyer screams. He fires without aiming. Bullets kick up plumes of snow, punch splinters out of the tree. A finger flies, spinning, hits the ground, and melts into fog. Karl Ernst shouts, "On your right." A hand has my boot again, melting from the fog around my ankle, nails digging into the laces. I stomp down, heel connecting with something that feels both solid and not. Cold shoots up my leg, but the grip slips. Keller opens up with the MP40. The bursts rip into the snow at the base of the tree. Chunks fly. Something wet and dark splashes. A smell rises, sweet and rotten, like opened graves. The song distorts, high notes bending into a screech. For a moment, the hands falter. "Run," Keller roars. We run. We don't even try to choose a direction. Not really. We just hurl ourselves into the wall of trees opposite the hollow, feet slipping, breath burning, hearts pounding. Branches tear at our faces. Snow flies. The song chases us. Above us. Under us. Inside our skulls. Behind us. Someone calls our names. Ernst. A voice cries. It sounds like his younger brother, the one he told us about, who died under a British bomb in Dortmund. "Why are you leaving me? Don't you remember?" He staggers. I grab his arm. Hall. "Lucas." Another voice. "Hi, childish. Papa." Meyer screams again, tears streaming from his eyes, freezing on his cheeks. He runs faster. "Karl," my mother's voice now, lisping. "You didn't come home. Where did you go? Come back. It's so cold in the flat without you." My eyes blur. For a second, the image of our tiny kitchen fills my head. The cracked sink, the chipped mug, the way her hair looked when she took the scarf off. Warmth surges in my chest. I want to stop. I want to turn. Ernst's hand cracks across my shoulder, nearly knocking me off balance. "That's not her," he shouts. "Keep moving." We burst through a thicket, burst through another, blindly, and then, suddenly, we are in the open. The perimeter wire gleams ahead, frost on its twisted metal. Our bunkers crouch behind it like low, dark animals. Men on the line turn, rifles raising as we hurtle toward them. We slam through the gap between two stakes, boots slipping on churned snow, lungs on fire. Someone grabs my arm, slows me, shouts something I don't catch. Behind us, the forest stands still. No hands, no song, just trees. Keller bends double, hands on his knees, gasping. Ernst leans against a post, eyes closed, lips moving silently. Meyer drops to his knees, retching into the snow. Brandt runs up, breath smoking, eyes darting between our faces. "What happened?" he demands. "You're early." "What?" He stops. Over our heads, on the slope of the dugout nearest the tree line, someone has written in the snow. 4 names. Weiss, Haller, Meyer, Keller. The letters are formed of bare, wet streaks, like someone traced them with a finger. Snow around them has melted slightly, then refrozen. Brandt's face drains of color. "No one touched that," one of the sentries says hoarsely. "We were watching it just appeared." No one goes out for listening posts forward of the line after that. Officially, Ryman says the Americans have shifted their patrol routes and we don't need the risk. Unofficially, everyone knows that anything forward of a certain band of trees belongs to her now. The days blur, shelling snow. Little tasks, letters written and not written. The song, sometimes faint, sometimes close, always in the edges of hearing. Men start to dream of her. I wake one night with my heart pounding, the inside of my mouth tasting of soil. My pillow is damp with sweat. In the dream, I stood knee-deep in snow, while a woman in a long dress sang just beyond my vision. When I woke, my feet were cold, as if I'd stepped barefoot on ice. Ernst mutters in his sleep, hands moving like he's cutting meat. Sometimes, he hums. He always stops on the same note, a strangled little choke. Meyer stops going near the entrance of the dugout at night. He sits with his back to the far wall, eyes on the floor, hands buried under his armpits, as if he can keep them from answering if she calls. Keller starts talking less. When he does speak, it's mostly in numbers now. Coordinates, distances, times, things he can control. The forest waits, the offensive falters. This is not a story about that. Not really. But the Americans don't roll back the way the big arrows on the situation map promised. The fuel doesn't appear in the right places. The weather does what it wants. The front stutters and breaks in pieces, some moving forward, some back. Rumors reach us from other sectors, about frozen convoys abandoned on roads, about entire companies found standing in snow-filled shell holes, faces turned toward something none of the survivors can describe, about voices singing in languages no one in the Ardennes should know. One morning, a chaplain visits the dugouts. He moves down the line, a little dark shape against the white, blessing men, murmuring prayers. When he reaches ours, he hesitates at the entrance, as if something invisible is in his way. Then he steps in, making the sign of the cross in the air. He sprinkles water from a little metal vial. No one flinches. We let it fall on our heads, on our rifles, on the knots in the timbers. Stay close to the light, he tells us. His accent is Rhineland. His eyes are old. There are things in these woods that are not new. He leaves a small wooden cross on the shelf over the stove. That night, the song threads through the fog. For the first time, she sings something like a hymn. Words about mercy, about forgiveness, about a shepherd and his flock. The melody is wrong though. It bends at the last minute, turning what should be comforting into something that makes the muscles in my back knot. The little wooden cross splits down the middle while we watch. No one touches it. It just cracks, a thin line, as if the air in the dugout isn't right for it. No one says anything. The last time I see Keller is in the fog. We are not supposed to go out that night. Orders are clear. Everyone stays under cover, unless the enemy breaks through. The Americans are shelling elsewhere, the sky to our west, glowing orange. But sometime after midnight, I wake to the sound of boots on the floor and muted curses. Keller is at the entrance, coat half on, helmet under his arm. His map case is open on his bunk. His fingers tremble as he folds the map and slides it inside. "Where are you going?" I ask, voice rough with sleep. He doesn't look at me. "I have to check something," he says. "A point on the line. There's a discrepancy in the coordinates. If the artillery doesn't adjust, they'll hit our own men." "That can wait until morning," Ernst mutters from his bunk, not moving. Nothing waits in this war except death. Keller's jaw tightens. "They're moving now," he says. "I heard it on the radio. They've already started ranging. If they're off, if the weather bends the shells," he trails off. There is something strained in his face, something that isn't just duty. "The line will still be there after dawn," Ernst says. "The men too, if you don't get yourself killed walking into trees in this shit." Meyer sits up slowly. "You heard her," he says. Not a question. Keller doesn't answer, but his hand clenches on the helmet hard enough to make the strap creak. "She sang my name," he says finally. "Not like before. This time she said she had something to show me, something I needed to see. A way out. A way out of what?" Ernst snaps. "Maps, orders, your own skull." Keller puts the helmet on. The shadows under his eyes look like bruises. "If she knows the forest," he says quietly. "If she knows all the paths, all the ways through. Maybe she knows where the Americans will come. Maybe she knows where the shells will fall. Maybe." He shakes his head once, sharply, as if clearing it. "It doesn't matter. I'm going. I can't stand lying here listening to her whisper and wondering if the unit on our left is about to get slaughtered because I ignored a wrong number on a page." He steps out. The fog meets him at the entrance, curling in like a white dog. It swirls around his legs as he disappears into the dark. "Don't," Meyer says, voice small. "Don't let him go alone." For a moment, none of us moves. Then I swing my legs off the bunk. "Idiot," Ernst mutters. He does the same. We grab our coats, our rifles. No time for proper gear. No permission. Only the feeling that if we let Keller walk into that fog alone, we will never sleep again, because we will always be listening for the note where his voice joins hers. We slip out, boots barely touching the planks. Outside, the world is a smear of gray and black. The fog is thick, hugging the ground, swirling in low eddies. The faint orange glow of distant fire is diffused into a dull haze. Snow falls, big flakes drifting. Keller's tracks are clear for the first few meters, dark holes in the white. They lead toward the tree line. We follow. She wants him, Meyer whispers. She wants each of us in turn. First Schmidt, then, she nearly had me. Then you, Karl. Now shut up, Ernst says. His teeth chatter. Save your breath for walking. The song creeps around us, soft at first, as if she doesn't want to startle us. It curls between the trunks, over the wire, through the frozen branches. She sings about directions now, left and right, up and down, toward and away. Her words twist, changing places, so that home sounds like hole, rest sounds like soil. Keller's footprints lead into the trees. We step over the wire, careful not to clink metal. The forest takes us. The fog swallows the light from the positions behind. In a dozen steps, the dugouts and their dim orange glows are gone. Only the trees remain, gray pillars receding into white. The tracks bend slightly, left, right, left again. Twice. I am sure we have been here before, but the pattern of roots and rocks says otherwise. Or maybe she changes those too. Keller, Ernst calls, once, low. Bruno, stop. This is stupid. Come back. The song answers. He walks so straight, she coos, so stubborn, always following lines on paper. Come boys, help him. He'll listen to you. He trusts you. She's lying, Meyer says. He doesn't trust anyone. The tracks deepen. Keller is walking faster now, his stride longer. In places, the snow is scuffed, as if he stumbled, caught himself. His boot prints are sharp, not filled in. We are close. The song rises. It comes from ahead now, concentrated, like a beam of sound. The fog glows faintly with it, not with light, but with a kind of pressure in the air that makes the fine hairs on my arms stand up. We break into a small clearing. Keller stands in the center. His back is to us, shoulders squared, head slightly tilted, as if listening. His rifle hangs from its strap, barrel down. His helmet is bare of snow, despite the flakes falling. Around him, the fog curls in lazy spirals. In front of him, the ground dips. The hollow again. We have circled, or she has folded the world. Bare footprints surround him, a ring of small sharp holes in the snow. They lead nowhere. They begin and end around him. Some are fresh, some bleed into older, softer depressions. Keller, I say. He does not turn. Keller, Ernst, says louder. Bruno, for fuck's sake. He does not move. Papa, the song whispers, not to him, to someone else. Meyer staggers as if someone hit him. He looks to the side. In the fog, just beyond the circle of prints, something moves. A small shape, no higher than our waists. A child, a girl in a thin dress, bare feet pale against the snow. Her hair is in two braids. She holds out her hands. Burble, she says. There is no question in her voice. Meyer sobs. He takes a step. His boot lands half in, half out of one of the bare footprints. The snow gives way more than it should. His leg sinks to the knee. The fog there is thick, clinging, like wet cloth. He gasps. Don't, I shout. I lunge forward, grabbing his sleeve. The cold that rises out of that footprint hits my arm like a hammer. My fingers go numb instantly. Pain shoots up to my shoulder. Let go, he cries. You're hurting me. You're stepping into your grave. Ernst snarls, grabbing his other arm. That's what hurts. The girl's face wavers. For a second, I see the photograph. The one Meyer showed us. The little girl in front of the bare tree. Then her features sneer like wet paint dragged by a finger. Her eyes go too wide. Her mouth opens too far. Inside, there is only snow. She smiles. Not with her mouth. With the way the fog thickens around her. Come, she says. It's too far to walk home. Stay. It's easier. We haul Meyer backward. His leg comes free with a sucking sound. The skin under his trouser is probably blue. He shakes, teeth chattering so hard I fear they'll break. Keller hasn't moved. He stands at the edge of the depression under the tree, toes touching the slight drop where the earth hollowed. His breath fogs the air in front of his face. His hands hang at his sides. Bruno, I say, softer now, please. He speaks. They're all down there, he says quietly. All the ones whose names I wrote. All the ones whose coordinates I got wrong. All the ones I ordered forward on bad information. They've been singing for me for years. I just didn't. Here his voice is calm, in a way that makes my throat burn. You didn't know, I say. None of us. I was supposed to know, he says. That was my job, to know. To send them where they could live, or die. But I didn't. Not always. The ground at his feet pulses. Bare fingers push up through the snow, just like before. They clutch at nothing, at the air. They are joined by others, and others, until it looks like the surface of the earth itself has grown hands. They reach for him gently. She says she can show me. He continues. Every path I missed, every angle, every safe way through. She says if I go with her, I'll never send anyone wrong again. That I'll walk every patrol in front, every time, and no one else will have to be lead man. His voice breaks on the last word. Bruno Ernst says. She lies. She sings. Keller says simply. That's all. The hands close around his boots. He doesn't resist. He steps forward. Snow parts under his sole, like water. He sinks slowly, as if into mud. The hands welcome him, climbing his calves, his thighs. They don't tear. They hold. The song wraps around him like a coat. We move without thinking. I throw myself forward, grabbing at his sleeve. The cold that slams into my arm is beyond anything I have felt. It's like plunging my hand into a river in January, and then having the river close over me, all its weight focused on my bones. Ernst catches his other arm, grunting. You're not going this way, he snarls. If you die, it's by bullet or shell like the rest of us. Meyer, limping, clutching his own leg, still finds the strength to put his hand on Keller's chest and push. For a moment, we hold him. Our boots slip on the snow. The fingers around his legs pull. The song rises, angry now, discordant. The fog thickens, pressing against our faces. My vision tunnels. Let go, Keller gasps, not at us, at them, at the hands. Let them go. Take me if you want, but let them go. They have nowhere else to go, she sings. Only down. The hands claw higher. Something snaps, not in the air. In Keller, his shoulders sag. Stop, he whispers. Stop pulling. You'll just go with me. His arm jerks. He wrenches free of our grip, not back toward us, but forward, deeper into the ring of prints. Before we can grab him again, the surface of the snow gives drops. Not like a man stepping into a hole. Like a stone pushed through the surface of a pond. The snow ripples once, twice, then closes over him. His helmet is the last thing to vanish, the dark curve slipping under white. The song peaks, and then cuts off. Silence slams into the clearing. The fog shudders. The hands sink. In seconds, the snow at the base of the tree is smooth again, except for the ring of bare footprints and 4 sets of boot prints leading in. Only 3 sets lead out. We stand there, gasping, fingers numb, legs shaking. He's gone, Meyer whispers. No shit, Ernst says, but his voice is thick. We don't call his name. We don't call for help. We turn and we run. Back through the trees, back through the fog, back over roots and rocks and half-frozen brooks. The song does not follow us this time. There is only the sound of our own breathing and the soft, muffled thud of our boots. When we cross the wire, we are 3. Brent sees our faces and doesn't ask. He looks at the space where Keller should be, then at the forest. He sighs, very quietly. Missing in action, he says later, pencil scratching on the paper, probably cut off during reconnaissance. Presumed killed. He writes the words slowly, as if each letter weighs something. Keller's bunk stays made. His map case sits on the crate at the foot, closed. No one opens it. His name appears on the board in the mess, chalk letters smudged by someone's sleeve. The song changes. She doesn't call his name anymore. She doesn't need to. She starts humming snatches of melodies he used to whistle under his breath when he thought no one was listening. Just enough to make the hairs on the back of my neck rise. The forest does not stop. Men still go out and don't come back. Shells still fall where they shouldn't. Orders still get confused. The offensive still falters and fails. We survive, for a time. We are moved eventually. No one calls it retreat in front of us, but we pack our gear, load trucks, march through ruined villages in the other direction. Snow turns to slush, then to mud as the weather changes. The forest thins behind us. The Ardennes fade into memory and scar tissue. We do not talk about the singing woman. War goes on elsewhere. Other forests, other rivers, other dead. Years later, there is peace. Streets get rebuilt, windows replaced, names carved into stone. Children born who will read those names without knowing the faces behind them. Men like me grow older, if we are lucky, or simply less young. But sometimes, when fog rolls through a city street in autumn and collects in the low spots, I hear it. A scrap of melody, threading between car horns and shouting vendors. A voice, clear as cold water, singing in a language no one around me recognizes. It curls around the corners, around my ankles, around the space between my ribs. If I stop and listen, I can almost pick out individual lines. Sometimes, I hear Ernst's half-sung jokes in the background, his stupid meatball songs twisted into something else. Sometimes, I hear Meyer sobbing burble in the gaps between notes. Sometimes, I hear Keller humming over the crackle of a radio that no longer exists. When that happens, I do what we should have done the first time. I keep walking. I do not look down at the wet pavement. I do not see weather in the sheen of water on the stone. 4 sets of boot prints are walking alongside me, or 3, or more, because I know that if I listen too closely, if I try to follow the echo back to where it comes from, I'll find myself standing in snow again, in front of a beech tree in a hollow in the Ardennes, watching hands push up through the ground. And I know this much. She does not stop singing just because we leave. She is still there, in that forest, in that hollow, under that tree, walking in circles in the fog, barefoot in the snow, singing to any man who hears her and knows he should not answer. If you ever find yourself in a quiet wood where the fog lies too low and the snow never quite melts, and you hear a woman's voice singing your name from just beyond the next tree, don't go see who it is. Don't ask whose grave she's standing on. Don't try to be brave. Stay where you are. Stay for the next story that will follow you home long after the last word is spoken. Remember the men of the 326th Volksgrenadier Division, the patrol that followed a singing woman into the Ardennes fog and never truly came back, no matter where their bodies ended up.